go ahead, Jasmine, without further ado.
So, what's the big announcement, Matt? No, I'm just kidding. Big announcement. VPS and Appointments Today have decided to merge together for the sake of all the realtors nationwide. So now you have two amazing industry leaders that are now coming together, and boom, it's one big fire. So Matt and
Absolutely.
I have decided to create one big fire in the ISA industry and merge our services together.
Man, I don't know much stronger of a team than that. And Jasmine's going to be a big part and a big role of the transition within our company because any of our clients that we bring on, and even our clients, they're going to be able to get double-sided perspective from both leaders. It is really amazing. I'm super excited about it.
I am too. I couldn't be more excited.
Welcome to Business Insights with Matt Milia. I'm your host, Matt Milia, and in this podcast, we'll talk about the real, raw, uncut business success secrets you won't find anywhere else. Follow my journey from entry level to CEO. We discuss real actionable items you can plug into your business right away. To subscribe to our weekly top tips, you can go to www.mattpodcast.com and join our community of elite high-level performers. And if you're interested in our inside sales company, you can go to www.appointmentstoday.com to jump on a free strategy call. And now, stay tuned for our podcast. All right, what's up, everybody? It is Matt Milia here, and we are live on Business Insight with Matt Milia. And I am joined today by Kristen and Jasmine Ramirez. And before we get rolling, guys, I got an awesome package that just came in. I am super, super excited about it. And I am going to open it up. We're going to see what it is. Kristen, I don't know if it's as fun as the one package that you know I'm going to be getting, but we'll leave that as a surprise for when we go to the Club Wealth event. So, oh, I love it. Look at this. Got the wristbands. 100 appointments today. I love it.
Nice.
Oh, got to get that in the camera view. Absolutely.
Very cool.
All right. Well, guys, I'm super stoked about today's episode because we have Jasmine Ramirez on with us, and Jasmine runs VPS. And Jasmine, for anyone who's been living under a rock, would you introduce yourself, tell everybody a little bit about you, and give us some background.
All right. Well, my name is Jasmine Ramirez. I've been titled the Queen of ISA before.
I love it.
No, but honestly, I've been for the better half of this decade. I started an ISA business and started off with just as an ISA, much like you, Matt, and started off a business based on the extreme demand for ISA services. And I've been successfully running this business for almost a decade now. So wow. I'm also a mother of 3 beautiful children, 2 teenagers and a 7-year-old boy, and just reaching a peak in my life where I'm finally taking control and knowing what I want and just going full force with life as a journey.
Wow. So to say you have your hands full is an understatement.
We could say that.
I love it. I love it. Well, so for everyone that's on, of course, you know, Jasmine, again, we really appreciate you jumping in. I know you have a ton of information to share. So I want to just really jump right into it and really start off with our first question. I mean, when it comes into the real estate industry, in your opinion, I mean, what do you think are some of the biggest challenges and some of the biggest obstacles that agents are facing now? I mean, just in a whole.
You know, some of the biggest challenges that I see that agents face, whether they're new or somewhat seasoned or experienced, is just having the right amounts of support. You know, a lot of agents try to go out and just kind of figure it out on their own. And it requires a team, a support system, whether it's an ISA, a mentor, a coach, you know, and I think that not having that support system, you will experience a lot of challenges in the beginning portion of your career, and it holds you back from, you know, achieving and unlocking your greatness.
Yeah, that's really so true. And it's funny because the business has shifted so much where And I mean, Kristen will tell you, I mean, when Kristen was out, hustling away, the biggest challenge Kristen had said was that, hey, I know the ins and outs of this industry, but we never had all this lead generation. We never had all of this where you had hundreds of leads and it was expected of you to have all these leads so that you could close more deals. Now, back then it was just, hey, my neighbors, my friends, family. Kristen, I mean, is that
floor? No, you sat
right?
Floor. That's what you did.
Yeah. Door knocking, a little door knocking action every once in a while.
Door hangers? Oh yeah. I could do
that. That didn't exist. The ISA industry and just prospecting in general was really underground until about maybe 2012, 2013, where it really started rocketing off and people started noticing, hey, picking up the phone book or someone in your neighborhood, or going to PTA events. It just wasn't enough. And I think it's because more and more realtors started coming aboard, and people started signing up to be a realtor. So the competition got really heavy. In the market. So you had to adapt or die, you had to adapt to the changes in this industry or your business would die.
It's huge. And I think still today, I mean, that holds true now more than ever. I mean, going into 2020, I mean, I see all of the AI technology coming out. I'm watching all of everything is just totally changing from what we're used to. I mean, hell, you go to the grocery store anymore and it's like getting a cashier is slim to none. You usually have all these machines that are doing it all. So automation is coming. And I mean, you're right. It's either you differentiate or die. So with that in mind, I mean, with differentiating, and if someone is, let's say they're kind of on the fence, they've never had an ISA, they have never, maybe they just don't know what they don't know. What would you say if someone has no idea what an ISA, I mean, what advice would you give them about, starting that journey and hiring an ISA?
My best advice to someone that's considering hiring an ISA is to really tap into your business and see where you're at. Number one, you should definitely have the resources and finances. This position that you bring on, whether it's in-house or outsourced, or you become an ISA yourself, it shouldn't be to generate business. It should be to leverage the business that you already have. So to me, I always, when I give a consultation and I find out if a realtor or a team is a good fit, my first question is, how many leads do you have? How many leads do you have? How are you managing your database currently today? If you have too much business and it's slipping through the cracks, then an ISA is someone that you need on your team. If you don't have enough business and you're trying to generate business, an ISA might not be the best fit for you yet until you can generate some business and be able to afford for the position. So you should be closing at least 3 transactions, depending on your market. I know that, the average price of market is different. And in some markets, one person might have to close 1 deal. In other markets, you got to close 3 to be at the same price range. But be somewhere around an average of 3 transactions if you're in an average priced market before you decide to hire an ISA.
I love. Oh, now you say 3, and when you say 3 transactions, just to dig deeper on that, you're talking per month. You should be closing at least. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Absolutely, on a monthly basis, and you should average for at least 3 months.
Now, for the Southern California callers here, of course, that may be a little bit more of a challenge with the 3 a month, because I mean they're 3 a month, Jasmine. That's like 3 million in some. I mean,
average price market of about
right
50 or
here in Ohio, that's like 30 deals, but we won't talk about it. To get to 3 million in a month. Hell, yeah, totally different. Totally different.
But yes, nationally speaking, you want to be able to afford this and have enough business. If you're just down waiting for business to come, then you should be prospecting yourself, or you should be door knocking. You should be out there looking for business to be able to fulfill that need for your ISA. Because if you're lacking business, then you're setting up your ISA for failure. And I
So
did
true.
create, I talked, this is, it's always been the question, when is a good time to hire an ISA? Am I
Yes,
ready for an ISA? And that's why I'm working and finalizing my ISA training module and
I
helping
love it.
realtors understand when's a good time to
And
hire.
with my thoughts too. I mean, we are very much so. It's kind of funny because when we first started talking, I thought that someone that was working in the same industry as myself, I'm thinking, okay, we're going to either be totally alike or totally different. And we're like right in the middle because I feel like we are right in alignment when it comes to, especially with the right time to hire an ISA. And I'll tell you what, I mean, if you don't have the capital sitting in the bank, if you don't have the funding and you're not in, you also have to have the right, I feel like the right mental framework to hire an ISA, because sometimes people will hire them and then I call it the golden goose effect, where they bring them on and they're like, well, it's been 1 week. Why don't I already have 4 deals? It's like, well, I mean, come on, it takes time. I mean, and
Have you been
in
talking to my new clients? Is that what it is?
well, and the funny thing is it's like, but it's a universal principle, and I think a lot of it is because we've got the Zillow, or Zillow. Oh my goodness, wow! See, that's the Ubers, but Zillow you can find stuff quickly too. But we have the Uber, we have the Netflix out there, where everyone is expecting everything so quickly. It's on
Yeah,
demand. I click a button, I watch it, I view it, I go to Amazon, I order it, I get it. I just ordered those wristbands a day ago. My cool prop isn't here yet, but that's okay. We won't talk about that yet. That's going to be on the next podcast. I'm super excited about it. But all I can say is that everyone is expecting everything so quickly, and it's not anyone's fault. It's just the way that our society has primed us. So when it comes to that, I mean, talking about core capital, making sure you're closing enough deals, you're so
hmm
right. I think that's a big part of it. What so let's just say I don't really know what I don't know about hiring an ISA. What should I
right.
expect? I mean, what should I expect when they first come in, and what level of I guess really what level of patience or restraint should I have? Because sometimes we have to, as business owners, we have to practice restraint because we cut it very very
Definitely,
quickly. What are
definitely.
your thoughts?
Well, I'm gonna agree, and it's not all about the capital. It's also about having the foundation for the ISA. So, that goose chase or that rat race where the goose chase, yes, you want everything fast, but you have to also be careful not to run into that rat race. It's extremely important to have an organized database system where everything is set up for the ISA.
Mm,
If you don't have that system set up, then like I said, you're going to set up your ISA for failure. And if you are not in control of your own business, how can you expect the ISA to help you leverage to the next level?
so
So
true.
it is extremely important to lay down that foundation, have the right tools, the right dialer systems, the right CRM systems. There's so much that the ISA is going to need, training, coaching. It's not just here you go, here's a script and pick up the phone and go get me some business because I didn't have listings before, but now I expect you to put 5 listings on the board for me.
Yep.
It doesn't work like that. There's no button that you're gonna push. It's gonna magically happen on demand, and you're gonna just scale your business immediately. It takes time to lay the foundation, build the pipeline. So the first thing that you have to have is an open mind. Second thing is patience and understanding, and the third thing is realistic expectations.
I love it. I love it. It almost sounds like you could write a book over there, or maybe you're thinking about
I'm
writing
just
a book.
writing one.
I love it. I love it. I mean, it sounds like, obviously you've got this thing so dialed in, and it's right. I mean, because at the end of the day, I tell everyone it's a marathon. It's not a sprint.
Yeah.
And real funny story. When I first got started, I actually interviewed for the job with Al Stasek, and I was his ISA. This was back in
Mhm.
2012. And the funny thing is that it wasn't even my ability to interview well. I blew everyone away because I had Quicken Loans training. So I was at Quicken Loans, and I mean, the training there is absolutely phenomenal. And Al had heard about their training, and so there was a lot of people that were interviewing for the job. I just so happened to get it, but the infrastructure that Al had was not, and he would tell you the same thing. It wasn't the right infrastructure. It wasn't set up for an inside sales representative success. The reason why is because, like I always say, it's such an old saying, but when the cat's away, the mice will play. If there's no one there to hold them accountable, it becomes such a challenge. What now? And I mean, I think really that's where, because here's what I've heard, and there's this BS sentiment out there. I've heard so many people say this, and look, I'm how would you say this? I'm biased because we both run inside sales companies, but I love when people say, oh, virtual ISA companies, they're not set up for success. They don't work. Well, guys, that's 100% not true. And I have plenty of clients that would tell you it does work. But I will say this. The reason why a lot of times between a virtual and an inside sales, actually in office, you have to have the right infrastructure. Infrastructure is everything. And the virtual ISA company can only facilitate so much of the infrastructure, of the communication. What'd you say? Go ahead.
No, like you said, we can only facilitate so much of the infrastructure that we've created for our own.
Yes.
But it has to merge and match with what they have. So
100%.
It's this merging. I agree with you. Sorry to interrupt.
No, it's a perfect timing for it. And it's alignment of expectations, because so many times people are very, very quick to throw things, in the trash can. They're quick to hire and quick to fire. So what I would always recommend is, a little bit of a mix of both. You don't want to hold on to something too long, but I would always say, and again, this is just my personal opinion, but I would say that with an ISA, you got to give it at least 12 months before you can really say, yes, it works, or no, it doesn't. Now, I will throw a caveat in there. Behavior is everything. If the behaviors aren't there, meaning this person is constantly late, they're constantly not showing up to work, or they always have an excuse or a reason that they weren't there, you probably need you need to cut that person and be done with it.
Yeah, you got to know when to cut your losses, but not be so quick. I think it's also important that, not to expect an immediate return on investment, but you should definitely start seeing a path of return on investment. There has to be able to you have to see the path and be able to, foresee what the future of that position will hold for your business. And as a business owner, because a lot of realtors don't run their business as a business owner. And I think that is so important to really understand that this is a business. And with any business, you're going to have to make investments. And those investments take time to be able to get a return on. So I always say within 3 months, you will know if this is the right person to be able to supply you with that pipeline that you will need to get a return on investment. I mean, don't wait 6 months or a year. If your gut is telling you that they're lazy, you have to make sure that you're keeping them accountable.
Yep.
Weekly checkups are extremely important. I do one-on-one coaching with the ISA where I'm going through their numbers and I'm holding them accountable. So yeah, you may have not gotten me a listing appointment, but, do you have a pipeline of follow-ups that you've set to follow up with? So it's not just, don't only look at the number of appointments, look at the possibility of the fortune that will be in the follow-up if managed accountable correctly.
I love it. I mean, if I could literally framework that response, and I want to have that, I want to literally put a mural up that just absolutely emulates what you just said. Guys, here's the deal. I can't tell you how many times where someone's like, well, I haven't gotten enough appointments, but then I look and I'm like, well, first off, you have a good amount of appointments, but okay, I'm open-minded. Let's take a look. And then I see all these nurtures. And I'm like, well, you see all the nurtures? By the way, for everyone that's watching, a nurture, there's someone who is not committed to a realtor. They are looking to sell their home within 12 months or less. We have the motivation, and we have what I call 3 levels deep motivation, which if you guys haven't seen some of my videos in the past week, I have everything on going 3 levels deep, but we know exactly what their time frame is, why they want to sell, why that's important to them. You got to know the basics. And once you know all of that framework, you get to the end of the call, it makes it easy. But the point is with these nurtures, that is a list of 100% predictable revenue that we're helping you build for the future. From what we've discovered, 1 out of every 15 nurtures becomes a listing, a signed listing. And the only question is are they going to sell with you or are they going to sell with someone else? And that's all it is.
Let's be realistic. Yes, back in 2012, when you and I were training, as ISAs, we know we knew then and we know now. Maybe that number's gone down, but it takes about 8 to 12 times to call someone and really get them to commit. You might have another realtor that comes in more aggressively and goes in and gets the appointment and gets the listing. But the position of an ISA is more so to build the rapport, gather all the information, and get them to a point where they know that they want to sell and they understand the value that their team is, that the realtor's team is going to bring to them. So we warm up the lead. Yes, we'll serve it to you hot on a platter, but sometimes that dish is going to get cold if it sits out too long. So it's the job of the ISA to keep on going back in and nuking that dish in there until they're ready to just to heat it up.
Why did you have to bring up food? I mean, I'm literally on the 16th hour, so I've been doing intermittent fasting and I'm dying over here, but it's okay. I'm drinking the coffee, so that's hilarious. I love it, but it's so true. Yeah, right. I love it. But you know what, though? I'm so glad you brought that up because it is so many people overlook nurtures. And I mean, I'll never forget, I had a guy, we were actually averaging, he was getting double-digit appointments every month. We were getting him a lot of nurtures every month. And he was like, well, I'm not really knowing, I don't know if I see value. And I'm like, well, look at the nurtures, look at the appointments. And then, come to find out there was actually some issues with the handoff when it was going to the agents. The agents weren't communicating, or they were rescheduling the appointments. Oh God, don't reschedule the appointments. Guys, we worked so hard to get it. Like, the worst thing you could do is reschedule it. Give it to someone else on your team and offer them a referral. That's the best thing.
Here's another key point.
Yes, I love it.
You not only need an ISA, you need a client coordinator.
Oh my God, yes, it's huge.
Because a lot of times, especially if you have a team of 3 or more agents, you're expecting the ISA to just kind of hand it off to your agents. But if you're not holding the agents accountable because you're probably busy being the rainmaker, then the agents will probably call the lead once, won't give the ISA feedback, and then boom, the lead slips through the crack. Now the ISA is put in a position where I've seen it happen so many times where, do I call this lead back? I've trained my ISAs not to call the lead back until we get feedback. Why? The last thing I want a homeowner thinking is that we're not communicating as a team. So if I get that lead to the team and they didn't give me feedback, I have to wait. Yes, we have the Trello board that we use for communication, and we're dinging the realtors on the Trello board like, hey, where's the feedback? Where's the feedback? Yeah. But it makes the ISA's job extremely difficult when you do not provide feedback and communicate with, hey, I called this person, they didn't answer, or can you reschedule because my schedule is jam-packed and I can't meet that, or something came up. Communication is the key when you really want to grow your business with especially an outsourced ISA, even an inside ISA. Communicate with your ISAs. And you should have the client coordinator, because the ISA is a position to dial for dollars. They should be focused on generating and converting business for your team. Now, the client coordinator is going to be like that police dog that's going to make sure that the ISA is giving what they need to provide, and then that the agents are being held accountable. So either a team leader, a client coordinator, someone that is in that role to be able to be the liaison of the ISA and the realtor is my best recommendation.
I love it. And what I recommend for a lot of people who are team leaders, or whether you have a virtual ISA or an in-house ISA, you have to meet on a weekly basis. And we used to have we were calling them impact zone meetings. So what we would do is every single Friday, we would sit down for 30 minutes to an hour, depending on how much business went through that week. And we'd say, okay, Matt, you set 12 appointments this week. Out of the 12 appointments, 9 of them ran. Here are the 9 appointments that we see that ran. And then we would sit there with the listing agents. It's very important, or buyer's agents, whoever the appointments are being set for. And we would go to that agent and say, okay, Dan, you ran the appointment at 123 Main Street with John Smith. Tell me a little bit about John Smith. What happened this week? Did you get the listing? What is now, here's the biggest thing. What is the action plan for the next week?
To action. Oops, sorry.
Are you going to be following up with them this week? What are you going to be doing? And then it would either get reassigned, either go back to the ISA, or it would stay on the agent to make sure that they do the follow-up. But bottom line, someone has to follow up. And one of the biggest takeaways from this is if everyone is responsible, no one is accountable. You have to have one person who holds accountability there, and it has to be delegated off from the team leader. The team leader makes the determination, okay, and that's it. Because I can't tell you how many times we would set up, we'd set up all these appointments and then find out none of them ran, and then we'd come to find out that what would end up happening is during the handoff, the agent would either not see it, or they get confused, or they reschedule it, or whatever the case may be. And there needs to be that direct line of communication because, yes, absolutely. I mean, and that's huge. And look, for all the agents that are out there, I mean, Jasmine's an agent. I'm an agent. And Kristen was an agent too. So we all get it. I mean, this industry has become crazy challenging because you got to be a marketer. You got to be a business owner, a team leader. You got to be everything to everybody. And here's the thing. What ends up happening is you become nothing to nobody. And that's why it's so vital and so important that you have a team, because let's face it, this is a tough industry. People that say they want to get into this because I want to free my time up, or I want to have, no, you don't have free time. If you got free time,
if you want free time, you're in the wrong industry. But I will tell you this, eventually you will get to a point where you will learn so much from the challenges. Hopefully you'll listen to some of our recommendations and not go through as many challenges. But you will learn enough about the challenges that you can position yourself to be a master delegator. You got to get to a point where you're not so involved in the micromanaging of every position of your business, where you can just kind of stand. I got to that point where I could just kind of stand from above and just say, okay, where's my report for this? How did we do with this? What's going on with this? But you can't get there. You can't leverage and scale without a support system. So
and you're kind of leading us into the fun part of this, because I told everybody we had a big announcement, which we do.
Oh boy.
and all of a sudden our viewer numbers went up. I'm like, big announcement, the viewer numbers went up. So with the big announcement, guys, really what I'm going to do is I'm going to hand that over to Jasmine so she can kind of tell you guys a little bit about it, and then we're going to talk a little bit about support and systems and why we're doing what we're doing. So go ahead, Jasmine, without further ado.
So what's the big announcement, Matt? No, I'm just kidding.
Kristen?
I've come to a point, and that's the point that I was just describing. I've come to a point where I don't want to be a one-woman show anymore. I don't want to have to, manage everything. I was I was the one doing all my Facebook ads and my marketing. I went and I got an amazing marketing team to help me with that, and they're experts and authorities in their niche, where they can just give me the ideas, and all I have to do is, hey, approve them, and we can rock out with that. I got to a point where I didn't want to have to manage and train the ISAs. So I had to get a team leader and do that. But what I did notice was when I met Matt a couple months ago, and since then we've been brainstorming crazy ideas, I get to a point in my business where, because I didn't scale it properly and I was so focused on helping realtors and be that point of contact, and just be so involved in every single aspect and detail, I learned very quickly that it's difficult to scale at that level where you are holding all the hats. So, yes, I've provided support and helped realtors grow their business, but I also lost my focus in the process and have not been able to scale to a certain point. I'm blessed that I've been a successful business owner, and I've been able to not only grow my business to where I've seen it for so long, based on referrals and things of that sort. But more importantly, I got to a point where I noticed I can't be a one woman show all the time anymore. I've lost out on phenomenal opportunities and memories with my three children. I've lost out on vacationing like normal people. Like I can't, now this year is where I'm vacationing more. Like I said in the beginning of the interview, I've reached a point in my life where I'm finally at a peak state and I want to start enjoying life. So, big announcement, and it was not easy for me to let go. Matt and I had many conversations before this. But I realized that with the structure that he has a full blown support system team. And I love what you guys do because you offer it from beginning to end. It's not just the ISA service that you're offering. You're offering lead generation. You're showing realtors how to go out and generate the business. Then you're showing them that you can maintain control and manage their ISA with not only cold calling, but also training and coaching. So, you're able to offer them what I was 10 times more on steroids. And part of now me being part of EXP, I've learned more of how important that support role is now that I have my mentors and my coaches. I didn't have mentors and coaches before. So with that, I've decided to merge with Appointments Today. VPS and Appointments Today have decided to merge together for the sake of all the realtors nationwide. So now you have two amazing industry leaders that are now coming together, just like EXP does, right? You put all these industry leaders together and boom, it's one big fire. So Matt and
Absolutely.
I have decided to create one big fire in the ISA industry and merge our services together. I've decided to kind of lean back where Matt is going full force. You guys been around for what, 5 years? Is that
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
5.
5 years.
So I've been around for 10 years. Needless to say, I want to kind of pull back now. And
Right.
now I have a team that can help and, join these forces together. So that's what we're doing. And, it took a while for me to really come and realize and not look like a quitter, because this is, when you start a business, it's like this is your baby. You don't want to quit. You don't want to give up on it. But, with the support of my family, with the support of my friends, and with the support of my coach and mentor, Mike Gerbic, who's amazing.
I love
He's
Mike. Mike
yeah,
is
I
awesome.
love Mike. So, Mike, who's coaching me now with EXP, he's like, Jasmine, you've done great. You've done a phenomenal job. It's okay to rely and get some support. And I think, too oftentimes we're too proud and we have too much ego to kind of be in a vulnerable state and say, hey, I could use some help and support. So when I learned about Appointments Today and what the systems that you guys have available, from lead generation to ISA training to coaching, and so much more, I'm probably missing out. You also help realtors and you coach realtors as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
I couldn't provide all those services to my realtor clients as a one woman show. I just couldn't do it. I did it for so long, and I burnt myself out. I sacrificed a lot, family, friends, memories. So I'm really
Oh yeah.
excited. I've reached out to my clients. Some of them have connected with you. Some of them have signed up and merged with you.
Yep.
Others, I'm just staying small, selective, and still focusing on other avenues that I now want to venture off to, which is,
I,
recruiting and writing my ISA training module book, and things that really make me happy and proud.
Jasmine, you are probably one of the strongest people because the fact that you ran what you have right now, and because our business sizes, guys, just being totally open and real, we're almost very comparable in size. I mean, we were probably right in alignment with in terms of how many clients, how many man hours we were delivering a day. So the infrastructure that I have is set to support well over 100 clients. But when I mean, I heard Jasmine's infrastructure. I go, oh my God. I go, I had 27 clients. And I mean, just being super open. I mean, my wife and I almost, went different directions in our life. We almost split because I was so focused on the day to day grind of the business. And I was at home and I'm just like, I'm out somewhere else. I'm sitting there on the computer. I'm trying to really manage everything. And it just, when I'm trying to manage everything, I was managing nothing. And I was I was doing everything that I wanted to do at a level 2 instead of doing it at a level 10. Exactly. So, and I mean, shout out to Milton, Sav, Chad, Kristen, Caitlin, Stephanie. That's literally, I mean, if it wasn't for that team of people, geez, I mean, I don't know where I'd be. And now Jasmine, which is, I mean, man, I don't know much stronger of a team than that. So, I mean, and Jasmine's going to be a big part and a big role of the transition within our company because any of our clients that we bring on, and even our clients, they're going to be able to get double-sided perspective from both leaders. So it is really amazing. I'm super excited about it.
I am too. I couldn't be more excited. Like I said, I went through a lot of mixed feelings. And I at one point I said, Matt, I can't do this. I'm disappointing, my clients that refer business. I have my clients that refer business, like Jim Steele. I love him. He's always sending me clients. And he sent me one referral last week, Pamela. And I'm like, Jim, I can't take care of Pamela. And he was like, well, what do you mean? This is unlike you. What are you talking about? What are you doing now? And what's going to happen to us? I've just decided to stay with a very selective group of realtors that I'm working with that I don't have to take the time to prep them on what to expect because they've been working with me and they understand what to expect. You guys, on the other hand, can take the time and coach the realtors on what to expect and how it takes time. I've gotten to that point in my business where I can only work with select group of realtors that already have what they need and don't require so much of the managing and the taking care of, if that makes sense.
No, it does. And it's funny because, like I said, I mean, when this was back, I want to say it was 2015. We had the most we had gotten to 27 clients at one time, and I had no one. I had no admin. I didn't have a finance person. I didn't have a salesperson to make the calls. I didn't have anybody. And oh my God, I mean, I would start off every day at 7 a.m. and I wouldn't end my days until 11:30. Sometimes after midnight would be when I would be ending my day. And that was the norm. And yeah, you could do that for you could probably, if you're a real strong person, you can do it for a month or so, a couple months even. But then you get to a point where everything else in your life goes to hell. I went from like 165, 170 pounds to like over 200 pounds real quick because you're not taking care of yourself. I ended up, I probably aged myself by 10.
Drink water. I mean, it gets to a point where the normal things that you would normally do, I got to a point where I was forgetting to do simple things to make sure that my children, it was like, okay, guys, you ready to go to bed? I would settle them in and I was a single mom raising 3 kids, managing a team of 15 ISAs and anywhere from 30 to 40 realtor clients at any given time. The least I had in my business with my realtor clients was maybe 20. So, I've slimmed that down, and I can't tell you how much free time I already have. Well, not really, not yet, not yet. We're still working on that.
It's getting there.
But
But
I was able to go to
yeah,
Tony Robbins UPW and spend
that's
4 days
awesome.
away from my business without even a concern, because I knew everything was managed. I'm able to go to my daughter's softball game with, like, it's not let me check my schedule. It's I will absolutely be there. And
Yep.
it's the same, I'm speaking very vulnerable for you realtors out there that are running this rat race and trying to do everything on your own, 15 to 18 hours a day. You're not Superman, you're not Bionic Woman. You're going to break down. And the sooner you realize that you need the support system, the more of an enjoyable life you will live at an earlier age.
So true. And just being very vulnerable myself, running an inside sales company, it's embarrassing. I was always, no one can sell better than I can sell. So I'm not going to hire a sales rep. I'm not going to hire anybody
You're
to help
looking
with
at the number one
appointments.
sales rep for VPS for
Oh,
almost
I know.
straight, until I said, that's it. Now I need
Well,
some prospecting.
there's
I mean,
the number,
how can we sell the ISA model
right?
to prospect when we're doing all of our sales calls ourselves?
Trust me, I know. I know.
And
And the number one sales rep is sitting in the middle right now for appointments today. It's Kristen, because if
yeah,
I didn't,
Kristen.
because before I brought in Kristen, and it was funny, Kristen's been awesome. She's been patient with me, because I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, I'm going to run ads and I'm going to do this. And like, we have lots of people that have like reached out to us organically. And of course, Jasmine, geez, I don't know how the hell you do it. I mean, everyone seems to know Jasmine. I'm like, holy crap, I ran Facebook ads before, but everyone knows Jasmine and
I know,
everyone's
that's
coming
how
from
we
Jasmine. I'm
started
like,
speaking. You called me and you're like,
right.
how have you been so successful? I looked you up and you're not running Facebook ads. I'm like,
Right.
oh, word of mouth.
It's crazy. I love it though. But I mean, obviously, but see, there's such a need. You have to have
Yeah.
the infrastructure, guys. You have to. And if it wasn't for Kristen, I mean, I've been so fortunate to be able, I just went to the EXP Con, and I mean, I got to go to the Hakkasan, which I never in my life, I didn't even know what the Hakkasan was, which I know down there in Florida, that's the norm. But here in Cleveland, we don't have anything. It's very, Cleveland's cool. Don't get me wrong, I love Cleveland, but we don't have cool things like the Hakkasan. And I'm like, what the heck is a Hakkasan? I didn't even know what it was. And I'm like, this place, okay, so that was a Miami club, but it's like one of these, it's $60 for a drink there. And I'm like, oh my God, like, granted, hey, EXP was the one that covered all of that stuff. So it worked out nicely, but it was amazing to be a part of that group of people, and to be able to watch a concert live and be able to step away from the business and actually still have the business running and growing and going. Because even at this point last year, I mean, we didn't have the type of infrastructure we have right now. I mean, it was getting there, but see, I wanted to be able to step away from my business and work on my business and not necessarily in it. And and it's tough, because even to this day, I'll sometimes have clients, they'll reach out to me. I go, listen, I'd love to answer every single question that you have. I go, but I am not the best person to answer the question, because I make sure that I run my companies. The one biggest thing I took away was from Elon Musk: run everything in vectors. So you have a vector of your business that literally that one person knows every nuance, every ins and out, which by the way, it's Milton. And they know every single nuance of that business. And then you delegate off the day to day to them, because what I know is this, and this is something I've even talked about with my leadership team. The owner, the CEO, the leader of Verizon, okay, which is a monstrosity of a cell phone company, they don't jump on the phone with someone because of the fact that, oh, my service isn't so good. No, they have account representatives. They have individuals. So for all real estate agents on there, the reason why I'm sharing this with you is because if you're a business owner and you're running this like a business, you need to make sure that you have that infrastructure, you have the team in place. Now, if you don't have it, we can help you. You can actually go to our website, www.appointmentstoday.com. We'd love to have a conversation with you. And of course, the best thing about what we've got going on right now is that we are literally at the time of the year where a lot of agents are going to sleep. And don't go to sleep. And if you
Yes.
and if there are agents that are going to sleep, you probably wouldn't be watching this if you're going to sleep. You're just waking up. So get a jump on your competition because yes,
Build
you are
that
not.
pipeline today so that when the new year comes in,
Yes.
you start with a 2020 vision on where you
Yes.
want your business to go. And that by the way, I got to give that credit to my marketing team. You know, it's
Love
like
it.
start with a 2020 vision. I can't take that one. No,
Oh
but
my
seriously,
God, that's awesome. I just put that together. I'm like,
2020
man,
vision. Yeah, see, that's
we didn't.
why you gotta have a
This is
team.
this is why I got other. This is why I got a team. I'm not even fast enough to catch on to that stuff. You
And
see,
Kristen,
start
I'm
with.
sure it was
Love it.
difficult in the beginning for Matt to let those roles go, and you had to remind them, no, you don't have to call. I'll call. You know, it's
Yep.
it's difficult to let go. I get that, but you're
So
really
true.
Mike, my coach, mentioned this to me. He said you're not a business owner if you're still working in the business.
So true.
You're an employee of your business. So if you're doing your marketing, then you're a marketing representative.
Right.
And if you're doing your calling, then you're an ISA. And if you're doing,
So true.
you know, your lead generation, I mean, so here it's like you said, you're doing a little of everything. You're really working about 5 part-time jobs. No
Oh
wonder
yeah.
you're going crazy. No
Yep.
wonder you can't finish tasks. No wonder you're losing sleep, you
Yep.
know, and missing out on great. And I'm only speaking from experience, guys. This is not me selling the ISA industry.
No.
I'm not even
No.
on here to sell VPS. You know,
Well,
I'm here to talk about the excitement of merging with appointments today and tell you
hell yeah.
realtors how important it is to hire this position, whether you decide to do it in-house or
Right.
you outsource it. But I'll tell you one thing, if you decide to do it in-house, you have no idea
You don't
what
know
you're
what you're
about
doing.
to
No.
embark on. Because now
Yep.
you want to talk about part-time, that is not a part-time position. That is
Yep.
a full-time position. So if you're willing to take away from your business for a couple of months until your ISA is off and running on their own,
Mm-hmm.
then if you can afford it, go for it. But if you don't have the time now, what makes you think you're going to have the time to really um, hire, train, and manage and keep an ISA accountable? Unless you
So
know
true.
you read the ISA training module book that I'm creating. But
I like it.
still then, I guarantee you, after you read it, unless you've already had some sort of experience in this part of your industry, which is cold calling, prospecting, managing, lead follow up, you know, all of that, unless you have some sense of direction, it's still going to be a very difficult and challenging experience for you. So be
And
prepared.
and you better have $100,000 sitting in a bank account. And I know that sounds crazy. Everyone's people are listening like, what the hell is this guy talking about? 100 grand in the bank. Well, here's the deal. If you're going to hire somebody in house, if you're not going to be able to take away from your business, because you probably won't be able to take away from your business, you need to hire a sales manager. Sales managers don't come cheap. I mean, they make good money. So, I mean, even at a low end, you might be paying a sales manager 50 to 60 grand a year. That's on the low end. And then to get, to have an ISA, you got another at least 25 to 35,000, depending on your marketplace. If you're in California, you're probably looking more like 48 to 50. If you're in the South, 30s. I mean, but you got to pay them well.
You know, it's just you got to
No, it's
be
not
a certain
impossible.
breed. You have to be a certain breed and caliber of a person to be
Right.
able to know how to hire the right ISA, train them, keep them accountable, keep them manageable, and things of that sort. So if you have a pretty tight-knit control of your business and you really think that you can do this, it's very doable. But if you don't and you need that support, that's why companies like VPS and Appointments Today are around.
Right. So, Jasmine, we're closing, just to close things out here. I mean, there was a question I wanted to answer. Stephen Croy asked, where is the best place or source for lead gen? Now, shameless plug, Appointments Today does offer leads, just throwing that out there. However, in my opinion, just giving you a few, it depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking for seller leads, I love Vulcan 7. Jasmine will tell you the same thing. She likes Vulcan 7 as far as expired, FSBOs, and of course, even their neighborhood data. I will say something that's a little bit, it might not be totally in alignment with Vulcan. I love Vulcan, think Vulcan's great. But I know Cold Data is their supplier. I've beta tested both sides of this. I still love the Red X's circle dial data. So if you were to ever get the Vulcan system, and then let's say you're like, well, I want to get the expireds, I want to get the FSBOs, but I don't necessarily think that maybe I don't want a circle dial yet. You can always beta test both ends of it. What I would do is, I believe you can get the Red X data for, I want to say it's like $50 a month. It's not very expensive. You can get their geo data. They have really good geo data. I've tested both. I've always seen the geo data does a little bit better with the right phone numbers. But I'm going to tell you guys this. I mean, and Jasmine, you already know this. Very few people actually even get the geo data and do much with it because they don't have the time to call the expires and FSBOs, which is the lower hanging fruit.
But it's extremely important to, kind of leverage out between expires and for sale by owners, because it's becoming more and more challenging to contact the expired listings. I've seen a huge decrease in the amount of contacts, conversations. People just don't pick up their phone anymore when they know that they're going to be bombarded with phone calls because they're home expired. So it's becoming much more challenging. So if you can, again, have the patience and be open-minded that it's going to take time with the circle prospecting, you can definitely benefit from circle dialing with Co Realty Resource, which we've worked with them for a long time. I don't know about the geo data too much with Red X, but I've always used the combination of Vulcan and Co together. And then if you want to really step it up, you use the Vulcan data with expires for sale by owners with the Co Realty neighborhood calling, and then you plug that into a Mojo dialer. Again, this is all, investments. So the difference between the Mojo and the Vulcan is you have a triple line dialer. So if you want to do circle prospecting and hit a couple of thousand people, then yes, you want to do the triple line dialing.
So guys, I mean, just to close everything out, by the way, if you tune in same time next week, I will actually talk about how you can start differentiating with some of your marketing. I'm sorry, that's not next week. Kristen's going to be running the show next week. So actually that's going to be the following week. We're going to talk about that. I'm going to actually be in California next week. So very exciting. But Kristen, thank you. Jasmine, thank you so much. Oh my goodness, you gave so much value. This was awesome.
Thank you. It was my pleasure.
I think everyone that's on.
I'm excited about what 2020 brings us and our partnership together.
Absolutely. Well, guys, so for everyone that's tuning in, again, we will be on next week, same time, same place. If you got value out of this, give this a like, give it a love. And next week, I'm going to.
If you have any questions about any of the.
Oh, yeah.
Your audience can feel free to reach out to me directly.
Yes.
I'm happy to answer any questions that they have, or why I decided to partner with you guys, or anything in general. If they have an ISA and they need some, pointers, whatever they need, I'm here.
Yep, Jasmine Ramirez. And guys, just so everyone knows, we didn't show her name across the screen because we are having some technical issues with Be Live, but that's all right.
Yes, you can look me up on Facebook, Jasmine Ramirez. I'm a mutual friend of Matt.
Yep. And then, guys, so, I mean, questions for any of us, feel free to reach out, direct message. And next week, we'll have our actual real live podcast launched as well. So I'm excited. Within the next 2 weeks, that will be up and rolling. So, guys, thank you so much again. And we will see you on the next one.
Bye, guys. Take care.
All right. Bye.